Do you find it hard to stay focused on a typical day of homeschooling? I've had many a day where my homemaking tasks collide with my kids' homeschooling tasks. And then there's the texts or the lure of the cell phone. And what about all those ideas that pop into my head constantly? How in the world am I supposed to stay focused and accomplish anything on a typical homeschool day with all of these distractions? While I am still struggling with a lot of these distractions, I want to share with you today 6 resources that I have found that do help me stay focused on a typical homeschooling day and help the struggling, scatterbrained homeschool mom. Hey guys, before we get started, my name is Ashley. Welcome to Joyful Noise Learning. I love to homeschool my 3 kids. I'm a former English teacher who has now found Charlotte Mason inspired homeschool, and I also love to help the scattered and easily distracted homeschool mom. Now, just to be clear, I have not been clinically diagnosed with ADHD, but I struggle with all the signs and symptoms of it. So I've been learning to manage and cope with my own struggles, and I would love to share with you how I've been learning to cope. So maybe you're like me, and hopefully maybe you can relate to that, whether you have ADHD or maybe you're just a mom who struggles to stay focused on a homeschool day. Number 1, the first resource is Downtime on my iPhone. So this isn't something you can buy off Amazon, but this is a tool that you can use for your benefit. And I know our phones are super great tools to use for many things. I'm even using my phone to film this video, but there are times of day that I really need to focus on homeschooling and I can't be distracted by my phone. Because let me let you in on a little secret. The phone is probably the biggest distraction that I have. Probably the biggest distraction by far. So if you can relate to that, what I have done recently is I have set up Downtime to go off automatically. Well, Downtime doesn't go off. It just turns most of my phone off automatically at certain times a day. So I personally have set it for every Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And that is my chunk of time to literally put my phone down, not be distracted by it, and get into the homeschool day. I'll let you know there are a few apps I do keep open and allow to be used during this time. I allow the phone to be on in case my husband needs to call me or reach me for something. I keep my calendar app available at all times. You'll find out why later because it's my brain all in one spot. And I have my music app so I can play songs for the kids during homeschooling, as well as some of my audiobook apps because we listen to a lot of audiobooks, I myself personally or for the kids, and I want that to be available. But other than that, I use Downtime on my phone. You can easily Google how to set that up on your phone, whether you have an iPhone or a different style phone. I'm sure they have that option, but that has been super helpful to put a little barrier and turn off that distraction. Number 2, speaking of timers and things alerting me, timers are my biggest resource other than getting rid of my phone is the timers. So I actually learned about the visual timers from Katie at Life in the Mundane. And speaking of which, I am joining Katie today to share all these resources. And Katie is going to have a video that goes up today for resources for the kiddos who have ADHD. She is full of wisdom and caring for kids with special needs, especially kids with ADHD. She also has been clinically diagnosed with ADHD and loves to help moms who feel scattered. I would love if you would go and watch her video after mine. You could also consider subscribing to her if you haven't yet, but she's amazing and I love doing videos along with her. So go check her out. So anyway, back to the timers. I learned about these visual timers from Katie. Isn't that so cool? So you can see as the time goes down, the little thing gets smaller and smaller and it eventually alerts you just like that. So the visual timers are super helpful. Whether you're trying to set motion in your day so you're not sticking with one subject for too long, unless there are some days where we can totally go on rabbit trails with the kids, and that's a lot of fun. But not all days we have time for that. So I have visual timers for me and for the kids to use as we do our work to let us know how long we need to focus on one thing before we go on to the next. Otherwise, I'm bouncing from thing to thing and nothing is ever really getting done. So this helps me, this helps my kids. And the other thing is setting timers on my iPhone or setting reminders that go off at a certain time every day to remind me to do a certain task. So you can use any app you use for that, whether it's just an alarm or if it's a timer, and using that has been super helpful for me. I do have an Apple Watch and I have the timer app right away available on my home screen, so I can set that quickly. If we say, hey, we're gonna go play outside for 15 minutes for a 15-minute break and then come back in, I can set a quick timer and we can do that. Do I always remember to use it? Not always, but that's why I rely more on the visual timers or on my automatic like alarms that I've set to remind me when it's time to make dinner or time to eat lunch or time to eat breakfast or time to drink my water. Yeah, I set timers for those. So it helps me remember. I also use my calendar app, which tells me when it's time to leave, to go somewhere that I have to go. And that helps me stay focused and make sure we're getting ready to leave at a good time and not missing out on appointments. The next resource, I think I'm on number 3, is the Things app. I've just started using this recently and I've really enjoyed this. My husband found this. I've also been listening to some great books on productivity and I've heard a lot of good things about this. We use Things 3, both my husband and I, and this keeps track of all my areas of responsibility, and I can sort things by project. I can sort things by area of responsibility, for example, homeschooling, or my homemaking, home management things, or my church volunteer things, or my co-op things, or my personal things. I can split all these tasks into those categories and keep things organized. Then I can set alarms and reminders so I remember to get these things done at a timely manner or when they need to get done. I'm a hybrid. I do enjoy my apps when I'm organizing my time and my tasks, but I also do use pen and paper as well, and there's nothing wrong with that. I kind of go back and forth between them. But the Things app has been super helpful. It's super streamlined. There's not a lot of bells and whistles. You can add emojis to your tasks because that helps with a little bit of visual pop. Or you can keep it simple so there's not so many distractions, because as soon as you look at your phone or look at something else, it wants you want to do something else. So there's that. But I think you can use it on the desktop too. So if you don't want it on your phone, so you're not picking up your phone to look at your tasks, you can open this up on your desktop as well. So there's another little bonus tip for you. To go along with the Things app, I did say I do like to write things down sometimes. So I recommend a super simple, no frills planner. So I literally got this at Menards and it was $20. So I love that I can see an entire week. I can write a few appointments down and then just a giant list, a running to-do list. And then I have a spot for notes for whatever pops into my head and I can start throwing things on there. So every once in a while, I like to have this notebook, this planner out on my counter so I can see it at a glance and I can jot things down really quick if I'm not constantly trying to be on my phone. So just a simple planner is what I recommend. And this one's small. I can take it with me when I go places, and I've really enjoyed this one. I really hope I can find it again. It says it's a Plato planner if you're curious what kind it is. Plato, never heard of that, but it's really nice, really simple, and I love it. Number 4 is the sticky note. It's tiny but mighty. This is super helpful to stay on task and on track and stay focused as a homeschool mom, because I love to mark things with this. I put them in my kids' books. We can mark the place where we finished and then we can pick up right where we left off. I can write little scribble notes on it if I need to, and I put them in the book and then I can see them later, or in my planner, or on the mirror or something, So this is great because how many times, we pick up a book and we're like, okay, where did we leave off? What did we do last? And then you're spending so much time getting off track. And by the time you're trying to figure out where you were, the kids have gone off and done something else. I really just love these little sticky notes to help us keep track of where we are in our school books and in my planners and all the things. So get yourself some sticky notes. And number 5 is a dry erase board. I would absolutely love to have a dry erase board in my kitchen or dining room. Like that would be my dream, but we have limited space in the way our house is set up. And my husband has graciously asked me to not put one up in the kitchen. So I use this one. It's got magnets on the back, guys. So it stays on the fridge and I can move it from the front or go to the back, like if we want our fridge nice and clear for company, or I put it out on the front when I need to write things on for the kids. So the dry erase board is super helpful to keep me not as distracted, and the kids as well. So I usually write just our daily expectations for the day, or I can jot a little note there and remind myself, hey, don't forget to do spelling with your son, you know, things like that. So sometimes I give times, sometimes I don't, because sometimes every day is a little different depending on what we have outside of the house that day. So this is helpful, so I'm not constantly having to tell the kids what we're doing next. The kids can come and look at the board, and then I can look at the board when we're going about our day and be like, okay, what are we doing next? Oh yeah, I forgot, you know, or oh yeah, I forgot, now I remember. So yes, just a simple dry erase board is all I use, and I use it every day. This is like one of my favorites. And lastly, for those of you who might be scattered or easily distracted, the other resource I love is my Living Books Homeschool Planner. So I created this with my husband to help the mom who wants to read a lot of good books, but picks and chooses from lots of different book lists, and then you need somewhere to keep track of it all and put it somewhere else. I also have our morning time checklist inside this planner as well. This helps me modify what we're using for morning time and make sure we're keeping track of, again, what we're doing each day and each week. It is a weekly tracker and a monthly tracker, and I can also use it as a reverse planning planner. So I'm keeping track of what we did do and not just what I plan to do. So that has been super helpful for me to do in that way. But maybe you do reverse planning, maybe you don't know what that is, and that's okay. I don't have a video on that yet, but you can research it, and I'm sure there's things out there where people explain that. But if you want to check out my Living Books Homeschool Planner, then I'll put a link to that in the description below, and I would love for it to help you in your homeschool and to manage the books and the things that you would like to do with your kiddos. So thanks so much for watching today. I am so glad you're here. Please consider subscribing if you haven't yet, and don't forget to watch Katie's video for the resources for the kids with ADHD. And I've got more videos on the easily distracted homeschool mom, and if you want to check those out next after you watch Katie's video, and then I'll see you next time. Go find his joy among the noise.